Hello and welcome. If you want to learn how to stay healthy, both mentally and physically, make sure to subscribe and smash that like button. It tells YouTube that you enjoy the content and helps our community grow. Do you ever wonder how much sand is really left in your hourglass? It is a terrifying thought that keeps many of us awake at night, staring at the ceiling. The harsh reality is that there are people walking around right now believing they are perfectly fine, who are unknowingly on the fast track to the end. They ignore the subtle squeaks and rattles of their own biological machinery until one day the engine just stops. If you do not pay attention to the warnings your body is shouting at you, you might find yourself losing your independence, your clarity, and your life much sooner than you planned. It is a chilling possibility, but ignoring it will not make it go away. This lecture, however, is not here to simply scare you without offering a lifeline. We are going to explore exactly what those warning lights look like so you can fix them before it is too late. We are going to talk about 7 specific, scientifically proven signs that predict longevity after the age of 70. These are not old wives' tales, myths, or guesses. These are real patterns seen by doctors and researchers in the people who live the longest, healthiest, and most vibrant lives. By the time we finish this journey together, you will know exactly how to read your own body like a map, understanding clearly where you stand and what you need to change. I want to ask you to stay with me until the very last second of this talk. You might think you are doing everything right, but there are tiny, invisible habits that could be shortening your timeline without you even noticing. Plus, I have a fascinating fact at the very end that completely changes everything we thought we knew about the aging brain, and you definitely do not want to miss that. Let's begin with something you probably do every day without thinking. A simple action that speaks volumes about your future. I am talking about your walking speed. It seems almost too simple, doesn't it? But your walking pace is essentially a vital sign, just like your blood pressure or your pulse. Think of your legs as the pillars of your personal temple. When the pillars start to crack or weaken, the roof becomes unstable and the whole structure is at risk. Imagine for a moment 2 men, let's call them Joe and Frank. They are both 75 years old. Joe walks with a purpose. He crosses the street before the light changes to red. He has a rhythm and a bounce in his step. His movements are fluid, like a machine that has been well oiled. Frank, however, has started to shuffle. He hesitates at the curb. He looks at his feet while he moves, and he often struggles to keep up with his friends. That shuffle is not just a habit or a sign of being tired. It's a neurological distress signal. It means the brain, the heart, and the muscles are struggling to coordinate. If you are slowing down, your body is essentially conserving energy because it is losing its resilience. It is pulling back resources. But here's the secret that can change your life. Walking speed is not permanent. You can speed up. You can train your body to move with purpose again. It's about reclaiming that tempo and telling your body that you are not done yet. Now, take a moment to look at your hands. Open them and close them tight. This brings us to the second sign, which is your grip strength. Believe it or not, the strength of your handshake might be revealing more about your future than your medical records. We often think a handshake is just a social gesture, a sign of politeness, but in the world of longevity, it's a measurement of vitality. When you shake someone's hand and it feels weak, like a wet fish, you instinctively know something is wrong. Research has found that the amount of force you can generate with your hand is a direct reflection of the muscle mass and nervous system health in your entire body. Think of a man named Robert, who can still carry his own heavy groceries and twist the cap off a stubborn jar of pickles without calling for help. He feels capable. Then think of Walter, who feels his hand trembling when he tries to pour a heavy kettle or hold on to a railing. That weakness in the hand is the canary in the coal mine. It warns of frailty. It tells us that the muscles are wasting away. If you cannot hold on tight to a tennis ball, you might struggle to hold on to your health in the face of illness or injury. Your hands are your primary tools for interacting with the world, and keeping them strong is a proxy for keeping your independence. This is actually a perfect moment to pause for just a second. We're talking about holding on to things, and I would love for you to hold on to this community. If you are finding these comparisons helpful and you want to keep learning how to build a fortress out of your body, please click that subscribe button right now. Give the video a like if you want to stay strong and healthy. It really helps us get this message to more people who need it, and it ensures you never miss a lesson on how to live better. Moving on, let's talk about the simple act of standing on one leg. It sounds like a child's game or a circus trick, but it is actually a high-level neurological test. Balance is the silence between movements. It is the ability of your body to find its center. To stand on one leg for just 10 seconds requires your vision, your inner ear, your brain, and your muscles to hold a perfect conference call. If the connection drops even for a millisecond, you wobble. We all know someone like Nancy. Nancy is 72 and she cannot put on her trousers in the morning without leaning heavily against the wall or sitting down. She tips over if she turns too fast in the kitchen. That tipping is dangerous. It predicts falls, and falls are the absolute enemy of longevity for older adults. A fall can change everything in an instant. But compare Nancy to Carol, who practices yoga or simply stands on one foot while washing the dishes. Carol is teaching her brain to constantly calibrate. She is steady. The loss of balance is not an inevitable part of aging. It is a sign of neglect. But just like learning a language, you can reteach your body balance. You can practice right now. It's about telling your brain that you are still in control of gravity, not the other way around. Then we have the mystery of the night, which is your sleep pattern. This is not just about being lazy or resting your eyes after a long day. Imagine your brain is a busy office building. During the day, it gets messy. Papers are thrown everywhere, coffee is spilled, trash accumulates in the hallways. Sleep is the specialized cleaning crew that comes in at night to sweep the floors, file the papers, and take out the garbage. If the cleaning crew doesn't show up, or if they only work for 3 hours, the office becomes a toxic dump. That is exactly what happens when you have poor sleep quality. You have toxic proteins building up in the brain, which can lead to memory loss and decline. Consider Henry, who has a routine. He sleeps 7 hours and wakes up ready to tackle the crossword puzzle. His cleaning crew did a great job. Then consider Bill, who tosses, turns, stares at the clock, and wakes up feeling like he's been hit by a truck. If you were Bill, your office is cluttered and chaotic. Your body cannot repair itself. Sleep is when your immune system recharges and your heart rests. If you are waking up exhausted, your body is screaming for help. You need to prioritize that rest as if your life depends on it, because research shows that it quite literally does. Now, let's look at the fuel tank, your appetite and eating habits. There is a dangerous myth floating around that older people just don't need to eat much, or that it is normal to lose interest in food. That is a slippery slope to disaster. Food is information. It tells your body to build, to repair, to keep the lights on. When you stop eating, or when you lose the joy of a good meal, your body thinks you are preparing to shut down. It is like a car trying to run on fumes. Eventually, the engine stalls. Think of Margaret, who loves her dinner. She eats colorful foods, enjoys the taste, and makes sure she gets enough protein. She is fueling her engine. Susan, however, just picks at a piece of dry toast. She says she isn't hungry. She skips meals. That lack of hunger is a red flag. It is a signal that her metabolism is crashing, her hormones are out of balance, and she is likely losing precious muscle mass. This condition opens the door for frailty. You need to eat to stay strong. You cannot build a house without bricks, and you cannot maintain a resilient body without nutrients. If your appetite fades, you must fight to bring it back, because food is the medicine that keeps you going. We also need to talk about the invisible killer that works silently in the background: stress. Imagine your body is made of solid iron. Stress is the rust. A little bit of rain is fine. The iron can handle it. But if you leave the iron out in the storm every single day, year after year, it corrodes. It eats away the structure from the inside out until one day the metal just snaps. We have John, who takes a deep breath when things go wrong. He laughs off life's little inconveniences. He adapts. Then we have Richard, who stews in his anger and anxiety. He worries about the news, the weather, the neighbors, and money. That constant worry releases a hormone called cortisol. High levels of cortisol dissolve your muscles, hurt your heart, and shrink parts of your brain. Handling stress is not just about feeling better emotionally. It is a biological survival strategy. You have to scrape off the rust before it breaks the machine. Learning to let go, to breathe, and to find peace is one of the most powerful things you can do to extend your life. Finally, the last sign is perhaps the most human one of all: your social connections. Loneliness is not just a sad feeling, it is a biological toxin. It inflames the body. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness is as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. We are pack animals by nature. We need the pack to survive. When we are isolated, our bodies go into a state of high alert, which wears us down. Look at Eleanor. She is always on the phone with friends, visiting family, or chatting with neighbors. Her brain lights up when she talks. She feels needed and seen. Then look at Barbara, who sits alone in a quiet house day after day. She has lost touch with people. That silence allows the brain to wither and depression to set in. You don't need 100 friends to be healthy, but you need a few good ones. You need to hear your own voice and hear someone else's. You need to share a laugh. That connection is the glue that holds your mental and physical health together. So, where do you stand right now? Are you walking tall, gripping hard, and sleeping deep? Or are you wobbling, worrying, and withdrawing? The beauty of the human body is that it is incredibly forgiving. It wants to heal. It wants to survive.
If you recognized yourself in the warning parts of these stories, if you are more like Frank or Nancy right now, do not despair. You have the power to turn the ship around. You can start walking with more vigor today. You can squeeze a tennis ball while watching TV to build that grip. You can call an old friend to break the silence. The goal isn't just to add years to your life, but to add life to your years. You want to be the person who can still dance at a wedding, not the one watching from a chair. And as I promised at the beginning, here is a fascinating fact to send you on your way. Did you know that recent studies on super-agers, people in their 80s who have the brains of 50-year-olds, show that their cortex, the outer layer of the brain responsible for thinking, is actually thicker than average? But the wildest part is that this thickness isn't purely genetic. It is almost entirely driven by trying new things and exerting physical effort. It proves that your brain doesn't have to shrink and wither as you age. It can actually grow as long as you keep challenging it and refusing to slow down. So go out there, challenge yourself, and live fully.